OFDM EVM. In the OFDM EVM Test SISO folder, there's a file named Test EVM TXLB specifically designed for loopback testing. In this scenario, the FFT size is set to 1024 samples. The sample rate is set at 122.88 MHz, and the cyclic prefix length is 64. Following that, you'll encounter the set TX attenuation and set RX gain. SN refers to the OFDM signal generated using the parameters mentioned earlier, while RN represents the received signal by the YTPC loopback function. After executing the program, you'll be able to visualize the EVM result. Additionally, you have the flexibility to switch the modulation type, allowing you to observe the EVM and constellation diagram with different modulation types. MIMO OFDM 2x2. We also provide an example of MIMO OFDM 2x2. Choose the MIMO OFDM 2x2 example folder and select Test EVM TXLB MIMO 2x2 layer. In the subprogram parameters setting, you can configure parameters. SN refers to the OFDM signal generated using the parameters mentioned earlier. RN represents the received signal after the YTPC loopback. Simply run the program, and it will show the EVM and constellation diagram for different modulation types in the MIMO scenario. MIMO OFDM for Y.FORCE. The following demonstrates the MIMO OFDM for Y.FORCE. Choose the MIMO for Y.FORCE example folder and select Test EVM TXLB MIMO for Y.FORCE layer. In the subprogram parameters setting for Y.FORCE layer, users can configure parameters. After completing the parameter configuration, go ahead and run the program to observe the EVM and constellation diagrams for different modulation types in the context of a 4x4 MIMO OFDM system. OFDM EVM test with coding. Choose the OFDM EVM test with coding folder and select Picture with coding LB. This example is all about sending a picture using OFDM. The photo getting coded and then it transmitted as OFDM symbols. In this example, the FFT size is set to 1024 samples. The sample rate is 122.88 MHz and the cyclic prefix length is 64. You can flexibly set the MCS tables index to change the code rate for different scenarios in this program. Once you run the program, you should see the image coming back in the loopback scenario. To sum up the YTPC User video series, we're confident you have acquired the skills to set up the platform and mastering its key features. On top of that, YTTEK supplies users with several OFDM example codes that serve as useful references when development communication algorithms.